Hello, welcome to AP English Language and Composition. I am Mrs. Ferguson, and today's lesson is an introduction to rhetoric in the rhetorical situation. Before we get started on Lesson 1, here is a brief description provided by the College Board. In the introduction to the course framework, it states, an AP English Language and Composition course cultivates the reading and writing skills that student needs for college success and for intellectually responsive civic engagement. The course guides students in becoming curious, critical, and responsive readers of diverse texts and becoming flexible, reflective writers of texts addressed to diverse audiences for diverse purposes. The reading and writing students do in the course should deepen and expand the understanding of how written language functions rhetorically to communicate writers' intentions and elicit readers' response in a particular situation. The course framework includes big ideas and enduring understanding, as well as course skill objectives. The big ideas and enduring understandings are categorized into 4 topics: rhetorical situation, claims and evidence, reasoning and organization, and style. Unit 1 primarily focuses on rhetorical situation and claims and evidence. So the rhetorical situation big foundational idea is that individuals write or speak within a specific situation and make strategic writing choices on that situation. The reading skills objectives we are working to master with the knowledge from this lesson is first to identify and describe components of the rhetorical situation, and then eventually use this knowledge of the rhetorical situation to develop the ability to explain how an argument demonstrates understanding of an audience's beliefs, values, or needs. In other words, we need to be able to identify the rhetorical situation before we can analyze an author's choices. Let's get started with our first lesson by defining rhetoric. One basic definition of rhetoric is that it is the art of argument. A second simple definition is that it is using language to construct meaning. The word language here can refer to words, but also other forms of communication like a hand signal. This thumbs up is something concrete, but its meaning means good job. This meaning is abstract. Ultimately, it is important to understand that rhetoric is any communication used to modify the perspective of others. Jay Heinrichs, author of Thank You for Arguing, describes rhetoric as the matrix, only cooler. He explains whether you sense it or not, argument surrounds you. It plays with your emotions, changes your attitude, talks you into a decision, and goads you to buy things. Argument lies behind political labeling, advertising, jargon, voices, gestures, and guilt trips. It forms a real-life matrix, the supreme software that drives our social lives, and rhetoric serves as a decoder by teaching the tricks we use to persuade one another. The art of persuasion reveals the matrix in all its manipulative glory. Heinrichs then goes on to explain how rhetoric led to the world's first democracies and was a valued skill to the ancients. The rhetorical situation of text collectively refers to the speaker, purpose, audience, context, exigence, and message. The image to the left of the screen is one way to illustrate the concept of the rhetorical situation. The circle around the triangle symbolizes how speakers or authors write within a specific context or situation. Just a brief note, the list of the components of the rhetorical situation to the right of the screen is not the order in which I will be presenting, but rather uses the helpful acronym of SPACE, which helps remind us of the components of the rhetorical situation: speaker, purpose, author, context, and exigence. First, let's talk about context. Context refers to the time, place, and occasion in which an author or speaker is presenting. Additionally, when we are considering the context in which a speaker or author is communicating, we need to think about the social and cultural background surrounding the other elements of the rhetorical situation. In other words, we need to consider the big picture. So we ask, what was going on in the speaker's world when the text was created? Part of the context is the exigence, which is the moment that prompts the speaker to make an argument. It could be an issue, problem, or situation that prompts someone to write or speak. In fact, the term exigence comes from the Latin word for demand. The context influences the exigence. Remember, the context encircles all parts of the rhetorical situation. So the exigence is the specific situation that sparks the need to communicate. Since we keep mentioning speaker, author, writer, let's talk about that next. We are not just identifying the speaker's name, who is speaking. When we consider the speaker, we consider the persona that is created within the text. We read the text and ask, who is the speaker? A author or speaker creates their persona through style, diction, tone. Some factors that affect a speaker can be their age, experience, gender, location, beliefs, values, their community, their education. When discussing the speaker, we are also considering how their persona and background provides credibility to the audience. The audience is who the work is directed towards. Generally, there is a primary and a secondary audience. The primary audience is who the piece is directly addressing. Secondary audiences are those who the piece is not intended for but will read it. A speaker must consider their audience morals, values, and beliefs in order to be effective. When analyzing audience, we ask, what assumptions can you make about the audience in terms of gender, socioeconomic status, education, beliefs, etc.? How does the speaker address his or her or their specific audience effectively? The reason why the audience is so important is because ultimately a speaker has a purpose. The purpose of a text is what the writer hopes to accomplish with it. Writers may have more than one purpose in a text. We usually express purpose using verbs. A work's purpose can be to inform, to persuade, to explain, to advocate, etc. So to determine a text purpose, we need to ask, what does the speaker want the audience to do? Whereas purpose asks, what does the speaker want the audience to do? The subject or message is what the speaker wants the audience to know. This is the speaker's claim or argument. To determine this argument, we ask, what is the work about? We respond with the subject, rather a topic. What is the speaker saying about the subject? This response should be a claim. This should sound similar to you as you have practiced coming up with statements of theme before. And essentially, a theme is an argument. But we will talk about this more in lesson 2. Now it's time to give it a try. By thinking about the text you read this summer and or using the bonus practice activity I provided. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.